Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to another Kong-rific episode of DKC3 on the Game Boy Advance. We're nearing the end of this game. We only have one level. Actually, we have a couple mini-games and a bunch of shit to do, but we're getting close. This should be the finale if everything goes according to plan. We have our last Swanky's Dash stage. For just a few coins, you could win a king's ransom and top-quality prizes. Will you give it a try? Back again, are you? You don't need any help from me. Off you go. Thought I'd read his dialogue for once. So we have our last one. I swear they were reusing this tube texture from a different stage, but whatever. It's the same fucking shit we've been doing all game. Except, I guess, off the top of my head, this one has the most sinister spike placement, the most challenging spike placement where you really gotta get out of the way. And I think I'm gonna have to retry that, actually. You got 0 out of 108 stars! That's not good enough, you really must try harder. And you still get prizes either way, but obviously you get better prizes for winning. And you have to win at least one of these to get the banana bird. So we'll get in there and we'll try again. Cause like how it works is if you have to clear a certain threshold of stars, like you have to collect a certain amount and above, and if you don't do that, and when you get hit, you lose stars and time. So, I don't know, after having missed that many, I was just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna win the thing anyway. It's just like, I don't think I ever have actually won all of these. Or actually, no, I did it for the review. But I know that when I did my test playthrough, I didn't bother to actually win them because I didn't care. Because you don't have to win them to finish this game. So I just played them just to play them for practice's sake and just moved on. Because my practice playthrough of this was it was kind of all I could do to just finish the game. And I'll be talking more about that when we get to final thoughts and stuff. But there we go. You actually managed to get to the end. Hopefully that's enough, but if it isn't, I don't care. It's like, what difference does it make if I beat it, if I get 1 extra star or not, and then it's just... You've seen the stage, you've seen the level design, there's not much else to say about the gameplay of those. It could have been a fun side quest if you had to beat all of them to get the banana bird. But as is, I don't really feel compelled to go back and get that 1 star. 1 extra star, push up my score that much higher. Regardless. This is another fun level in DKC3, in my opinion. And it's a very simple but ingenious idea. And, you know, so obviously, but I think some of you may have played Superstar Saga, and there's a boss in that game who, in the overworld, spins you around like an idiot. And the result is your controls go in different directions. Like you press left on the D-pad and it could make you go up, for example, and it's randomized. This level's kind of like that, except scaled back dramatically. The gimmick here is that Poison Pipeline, the water in the stage, will cause you, well, basically reverses your left and right control. So the down button and the up button still do the same thing, but you gotta press right to go left and press left to go right. And it's surprisingly simple to get used to, actually. Like, I eased myself in almost immediately, and it's like one of those things where, like, the moment you play it, you know how it works. And it's a fun little mechanical challenge, and I appreciate it. And it's one of those levels that, like I got at in my review, I felt like K3, Pacifica, and Razor Ridge was a low point for DKC3. And then after that, I find that Chaos Core is more enjoyable and has more interesting levels like Lightning Lookout and Poison Pipeline, which are reasonably challenging stages that are challenging because of an interesting idea. There needed to be more in look, a splash of color. That's something that we don't see a lot of in DKC3. So I appreciate all of those elements here at play here. This is where the game gets better again. But still, I don't feel like it's quite good enough to salvage the back half of the game, like, and I guess, I've been meaning to talk about this since we got to Chaos Core, but in my opinion, it is a very weak final world for DKC3. And, one of the commenters, from before, I think maybe it was, I'll go look it up. Stay tuned, folks. Twintania. Twintania is the commenter I was thinking of. He basically commented, and like earlier in the playthrough, I obviously have been getting at for this whole playthrough that I thought this game was rushed, this port, this remake. And I said so in one of the first few parts of this series. And he replied, I don't know, I guess he misinterpreted that to mean that DKC3 itself, like the original game, was rushed. And even though that's not really what I meant, I think he's absolutely right. Now that after he said that, I thought about it, and I totally think he's right. When it comes to, especially in the original, with some of these levels, like the toboggan levels, which were improved for this game, and just how they control, and some of the stage ideas, it feels like this game was rushed because, obviously this was the third game. The N64 was already out. It was 1996, and the SNES was on its last legs. DKC3 was either that or Super Mario RPG were the last big Nintendo releases on the Super Nintendo. And yeah, it kind of feels like that with this game. And gotta love the camera not fucking panning down so we can actually see where we're going. That's always so great. Bonus room, I think this is the one with the little loop that you gotta do, and I guess the challenge here is obviously controls the reverse, so you gotta make that work, but, it's still pretty simple. But, it's a very simple, fun idea. And to kind of loop backwards to what I was talking about, Chaos Core is a pretty weak sauce final world, in my opinion. The level design is fine, like in terms of where the challenge needed to be at this stage of DKC3, that works out pretty swell. I'm not sure how I managed to do that, but I'll take it. And as you can see, we only have one DK coin left to get, and I think we get that from the final boss, who is coming up next. Castle Chaos. We're at the final boss battle, so I guess I've got to talk about that. So right off the bat, you notice there's no final boss theme for some reason. Click, click, Kong's back. Click, bzzzt. This time Chaos will be victorious. You guys all remember that show, right? It was so great. Chaos is pretty pathetic, actually, and I think that background is completely new. Like you can see, like the parapets in the actually I think that's a mountainous background or something, but you can actually see the background. In the original version you couldn't. I think it was just like a night sky and there was lightning. So now you actually get to see what's back there, which is kind of fun. So you hit Chaos once and his Terminator head, his T-100 head, will fly off, and this bloodshot pole will come up, and he will shoot missiles at you in regular patterns, and all you've got to do basically is grab one of these barrels here, and usually I've killed them by now, so I don't know what the deal is. He'll like do his little fire thing, and so that you can't get under him, and then you have to dodge the missiles, and then after that he'll go into a free-for-all lock-on missile thing, and a barrel will appear, throw the barrel at his head a second time, and that's it. Chaos is defeated, and what's this?
Oh no, what have you done? My wife's going to kill me. I used all her best pots and pans to make him. And then you just cast him aside, as though he were a sack of empty tins.
I thought that's what he was.
What? How dare you? Chaos was my ticket to world domination. And I'd have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for you meddling kids.
I guess it just isn't your day, is it?
Well, you may have roasted my robot, but I'm the master chef around here, and I reckon it's about time your goose was cooked.
So, final boss, Baron K. Rulenstein. Yes, you heard me, that's his name. Baron K. Rulenstein, I think, might actually be my favorite K. Rool fight in the trilogy. And easily the best boss fight in DKC3. He is a bit slow, I'm not gonna lie, but in terms of what you have to do to fight him, he's good at changing things up, just like Captain K. Rool was. And while not being as kind of, I don't know, King K. Rool in the first game is easily my least favorite of the three. It's not a bad final boss, but it's just not one that I think is all that fun to fight. Captain K. Rool is a challenging, fun final boss fight, and Baron K. Roolenstein kind of flips the script a little bit. Where it's kind of more of a puzzle-based boss, where you have to keep, like, basically, Baron K. Roolenstein has a jetpack, and that's his weak point. You gotta hit that jetpack with the comically small propeller on it, and that'll cause him to go flying into the walls and shit. And from this point of the fight onwards, he's gonna have electricity at the bottom of the screen. And every time you hit him and his jetpack goes haywire, he's gonna fall in the electricity and get zapped, like this. Love those sound effects, by the way. I feel like Greg Males or someone recorded those and just had a lot of fun in the recording booth. Like, all the sound effects from these games, all like the voice clips, were just Rare staff doing their thing. Like, I think the cutlasses from DKC2 GBA, the sounds that they make when they die, they make that noise. I think that was Evelyn Novakovic. Just a voice clip that she recorded. Like, she has a voice credit in the game, so my guess is that that was probably one of her contributions. And I love whoever did the voices for Captain K, or I keep saying Captain, Baron K. Roolenstein. And yes, it is supposed to be the same guy, and I think it's supposed to be like Dr. Frankenstein. What I was getting at earlier, and as you can see, as you progress through the fight, every 2 hits or so against Captain K. Rool, the configuration of the room changes, where we have new platforms and new placements of those overhead levers to pull. And so basically you've got to dodge Baron K. Roolenstein, hit the lever, grab a barrel, and then hit him in the jetpack so he can get zapped. And it's fun because the boss keeps changing things up, but still kind of keeps the fundamental same rules at play. It's just a fun boss to fight. I think they did a really good job with this one. Is it the hardest boss of all time or anything? No, but I don't think it really needed to be. I really enjoy this fight. It's easily my favorite of the original trilogy in terms of final bosses. I don't think it's as... Like, Captain K. Rool and King K. Rool could be kind of frustrating because of how long they were. With this, it's just like, as long as you're paying attention and dodging your attacks. They changed that, by the way. In the original, when you delivered the final blow to K. Roolenstein, he would fly upwards and then crash land in that thing in the center of the room. Kind of like he did at the end of DKC2, but whatever.
Whoa, my head, what happened? One minute I was dreaming about the world's biggest pile of bananas, and the next I was a power-crazed madman.
Hey, don't worry, Donkey. Thanks to Dixie, it's over.
I'm impressed.
I bet even Cranky would be after that performance.
Nope, not really.
Right, you go this way, Kitty, and I'll go that way.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? And from this moment on, in the Donkey Kong Country cinematic universe, Captain K. Rool always wore glasses. By the way, I should note that this background here is the one I used in the intro I made all the way back in part 1. And it is my personal hypothesis that this was meant to be used in an intro sequence for this game, but because the game was rushed, they didn't have time to finish it or make it or whatever, and then this background went unused. This is supposed to be Diddy's house, I think. So I used it in the intro I made, because why not? It is distinct from the house background from DKC1, even though it kind of looks similar. But as you can see, there's no enemy roll call in DKC3 GBA. I don't know why. The one in DKC3 was kind of way too long, so I don't really miss it if I'm being honest, but it would have been nice if they could have kind of brought back the same one and tightened it up a little bit or something. But yeah, we're not even close to finishing the game. We've still got more stuff to do, but like I was trying to say, Chaos Core as a final world, Like, and it gets back to the theming of this game, the confused theming of DKC3. What was the theme of this game supposed to be? And Canada theme, like, okay, DKC2, and I guess, did we get ranked? Yes. And we're not even close to beating that 4-hour one. I don't know, maybe Game & Tank is good enough to beat 4 hours in this game, but I personally am not. We have all the DK coins. We don't. We need one more, exactly one more. And I know where it is. You guys ready for Krematoa, the final stage? I'm pretty sure we have 26 bonus coins, so here we go. Hey, you've got another one of those cogs. Put it on the machine and see if anything happens. Hey, I'm saying the same dialogue I said the last 3 times. Let's skip this shit, should we? Perhaps yeah. Don't forget. Fancy giving me some coins then? Go on, have a go. Good one, Kongs. That's bought you one of Boomer's specials. Alright, so now we have... One thing I should note about DKC3 SNES is that you could actually blow up all 5 of these rocks at once, but in the remake they make you do it individually for some reason. That's it, Kongs! I'm all out of explosives! I'm never gonna get a chance to talk about what I thought about Chaos Core, am I? Well, I guess my problem is that this game has like 3 different themes going on. It's ocean themed, it's Canada themed, and it's science fiction horror themed. And those 3 things just don't cohere together very well. The Canada stuff is really boring. Sorry for my Canadian viewers. The ocean stuff is more interesting. But the science fiction elements, I think, were grossly underutilized in DKC3. This game could have and should have been science fiction themed the whole way through. Because all the bosses look like movie monsters. Like, you look at Barbos and Belcha and, you know, all the other bosses in the game, they all look like experiments that Baron K. Rulenstein created to stop us or something. And I really think that they really should have played up those elements in DKC3. The Castle Chaos should have been the final world, like K. Rool's Keep was, and it could be like a science laboratory castle where you have to like dodge those electricity beams, and maybe there are giant vats of potions swirling around. They could have done stuff like that and it would have been really fun. But instead, Chaos Core is just a bunch of level archetypes we've already seen like a billion times up to this point. They look the same as they did before, and it's such a bland final world compared to K. Rool's Keep and the Flying Croc. Like, that final world of DKC2 just felt like the perfect crescendo of both the difficulty balancing and the intensity of the game, especially with K. Rool running away and it kind of continuing on for a couple more levels. That was such an expertly done final world, and then you play Chaos Core and it's It's such a boring final world. Not that Chimp Caverns in the first game was any better, but still. When they already got it down so well in the second game, you'd expect something a little bit better here. And I think that they needed to play up on the science fiction elements a little bit more, but whatever. Alright, so now we have the final level in the game. This is Rocket Rush. And in the original game, it had its own unique track, which was okay. It's pretty forgettable. It's just like... And for this version of the game, they just use Jangle Bells again, which is the official name for this version of Hot Pursuit, by the way, as I've noted before. I hate this level a lot. I don't remember what I said in the review, but I can tell you what I think now. I fucking hate this level. It's one of those things that gets easier when you've played the game enough, but when I first played this level, I hated it. When I did it for my test playthrough, I hated it again too. And just another weird difference, I swear to God, in the SNES version, the controls are inverted. Like, you have to press right to go left, and you have to press left to go right. In the GBA version, they swap it, they uninvert it. And because I've played the other version more recently, sometimes I have trouble with that because of it. where like I'm trying to play the stage and just out of force of habit I press right to go left and then I go right instead and then I get hit. That happened to me during my practice playthrough, so I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering that, but I swear that the controls were inverted in the original. But, see, I just did it by accident. Or maybe it's just something about the sprite that makes me think I'm supposed to do that. They did actually make a couple changes to Rocket Rush in this version of the game, that one in particular that does make it a little bit more palatable. We'll get to that when we get to that. But the reason why I don't enjoy this level is, for the first chunk of the stage, you go straight downwards. Like, you're in the barrel and you have to go down and navigate around the buzzes. And thankfully, this is one of the few levels where they actually bother to pan the camera up somewhat so you can see. I guess they felt like they had no choice this time around. They had to spend time on that during their apparently very crowded development of this game that was rushed. You can kill the green buzzes with the fire. Like, any of the 3 boosters on this thing can kill the buzzes. And you kind of have to tank a hit down here because there's not really a good way, I found, to navigate through that without taking one. So the big difference that makes this level just a little bit easier is, I swear, I believe in the original anyway, they would give you like they wouldn't give you any fuel tanks on the way down, downwards through the level in the first chunk. So you had basically like one energy bar that you had to go through, and if you slowed down too much, you died. In this version of the game, they give you small energy things the whole way up, which makes it easier. And in this last chunk of the stage, I swear they added a whole bunch of banana trails as well. Like, from my most recent playthrough of this level in the original for Game Mavericks, I remember having a lot more trouble with that second half of the stage, which is a really big pain in the ass in the original. And the reason for that, and for some reason there's a Dixie over there. We got our last DK coin and our last cog. And actually, I think I'm gonna save a certain thing for later. And in the original game, you had to beat the final boss to get the last DK coin, but for some reason they changed that. For this, I don't know. I can't fucking remember the SNES version for the life of me in this playthrough. It's only been a few months, and apparently that's too long. Right, so as we come back in, it's already spoiled, but you can see, I don't know how you're supposed to get in here without going backwards that way.
Unbelievable type of a situation! You found all of the DK coins!
I'm sorry, Kongs, I didn't think you'd actually find them all, so I've got nothing new to show you. Hey, Kongs, just kidding, you know? May I introduce you to my finest and coolest creation yet, the Funky Copter. And with that, we have unlocked our final Funky mission. Back again? Radical. This time I need you to use the turbo ski to beat your opponents to the finish line. Do the 3 laps of the track to complete the challenge. Alright, so we're back with this one's a race. So basically what you gotta do is it's like any other racing game where you have to try to get first right off the bat, so that you can just kind of, you know, lap your way around your opponents for the rest of it. And, you know, if you kind of stick to the, and it's kind of hard to do with the isometric, or yeah, the orthographic view we've got going on here. And as with previous missions, that life bar, if it runs out, you gotta do the whole thing all over again. So this one's probably the second hardest mission. And it's I don't know, maybe it actually is the hardest now that I think about it, because it's the longest one. Like the first one, it's hard because you gotta get so much done in such a short period of time, but this one, you gotta steer your way around this orthographic track that you can barely see where you're going. You gotta do it real fast so that you don't lose the race, and you gotta avoid taking damage, which will make you have to restart it. So I don't know, it's still not a very difficult mission for me personally, especially now that I've got the bigger screen to work with. But yeah, just 3 laps and then we're done. But like, even if I get hit now, I'd probably die, so I don't want to take that chance. I only lost 1 chunk of my health bar. But I have lost like 2 at a time before when I did my test playthrough and I had to redo this thing. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna die. 'Cause you kind of have to get right on top of those other Kremlings in the boats in order to pass them, but... Yeah, I gotta focus on this, because I don't want to have to... Well, fuck that, I guess I'm redoing it anyway. You need to drive much quicker than that. Try accelerating. No shit. I didn't want to do that. I gotta go back. We'll talk about the funky copter after we finish this minigame here, but not too much to say about that. Alright, I'm just gonna speed this up because I've already said what I need to say about it, and you've already seen the full track anyway, so it's not really much point of me commentating over this, so we'll cut back. There we go. That's the last funky mission done and over with. I think that means we're done with minigames at this point. Yo, dudes, you flew around that track. Here, take these. And with that, we've unlocked his banana bird as well. Well done, dudes. You have passed all my challenges. Here, take this strange-looking bird. I'm sure it'll come in useful. There we go. Take it real easy, Kongs.